Before I go into a deep review of the Dragon Ball franchise in the year 2025, I think it's only fitting to mention what happened the year prior, considering the toll it had on this year and maybe for 2026. The biggest case was the passing of Akira Toriyama, which very unfortunately and maybe wasn't foreseen by him on how it would have impacted his stories and the world that he created. For instance, Dragon Ball Super only had 3 chapters last year, leaving us with a very open-ended story. But of course, multi-billionaire companies being multi-billionaire companies basically made the situation into money. Of course, I'm referring to the copyright dispute between Shueisha and Capsule Corp Tokyo. And so this may or may not have had an impact on the production for the Dragon Ball Super manga. I can't fully 100% say that this is the case, as the transparency for behind the scenes of Japanese media is not very transparent. Even as I speak right now, there's no answer for who owns what exactly. But considering that Capsule Corp Tokyo's name still hanging around at events, it's safe to say that they still own the anime rights and gaming rights. And since then, only one Dragon Ball Super chapter has been made, which was a prequel to the superhero arc, which Toritaro explained that it was a scrapped idea from Toriyama that couldn't quite make it because of the scheduling conflicts. I guess it's better than nothing, but as of right now, nothing else has been announced.
Since this news about the copyright dispute, we've also heard from Toriyama's previous editors on how Shueisha didn't give any real recognition for his passing. It's speculated that they did this in reflection of Toriyama's reserved nature, but the fact that they waved off the request of having a symbolic gesture, like a banner of Goku waving goodbye, honestly felt depressing, and only justifies why Shueisha should lose the rights to the franchise. And if they continue to act in such a way with other artists, what's stopping other successful creators from departing from Shueisha too? Meanwhile, Sparking Zero, I can only describe, had a pretty big switch up from its release. The honeymoon period really lasted up to the end of 2024. And honestly, I do think some of the criticism is justified, like adding more gameplay content such as a survival mode, raid modes with friends like how the 3 idiots played the previous games, or even more story content, which is the best part of this game. We did get a few DLC packs, which made the fandom happy for about a day, but still cool that we can play as Shallot, and I hope they make more transformations for him when the next Legends anniversary comes out. I'm still having fun with the game though. I bought it again and replaying it on my Steam Deck, and honestly it's still enjoyable, especially on the go. And let's be glad it isn't like Divers, as I've mentioned in my Dragon Ball Heroes retrospective video. Dragon Ball Super Divers ended up being an unfortunate disappointment, just from departing away from Heroes' wacky fan-filled vision, in exchange for it to be a cut and dry turn-based fighting game that's only based on the main anime. I remembered that they revealed Timebreaker Bardock as part of their anniversary, which might be a sign that they've changed their minds with their direction, and good thing too, especially when their player base is apparently dwindling.
And in terms of anime, Dragon Ball Daima is finished, I guess. I'm definitely not hating, but it was definitely the most head-scratching anime from the Dragon Ball franchise. From the fusion bugs being thrown out of the story, to Super Saiyan 4 just magically returning in a new style.
It doesn't help that the creative decisions like Super Saiyan 4 and the characters turning into children were only made because of Dragon Ball GT nostalgia.
It made us question what the word canon means with this franchise. But I'm so glad after so many decades, we finally got to confront someone that's worked on the product on what is and what isn't canon. Which pretty much Toritaro told us that pretty much anything is canon. It depends on what you want is canon. So of course the fandom misconstrued this into thinking that everything outside of the official Dragon Ball product is officially part of the Dragon Ball timeline. From Super Saiyan 100 to Super Saiyan 3 Freddy Fazbear.
As for Xenoverse 2, I didn't buy any of the latest DLCs. I stopped having fun with this game for a while, especially with that last Future Pack DLC, and I cannot believe it took them 11 months to release the latest story chapter. However, judging from the cutscenes that I've seen, this looked kinda good, aside from how they initially messed up Broly's dub voice in the beginning.
What is this power? It's huge! Why don't you stay down?
And out of all the re-released DLCs but in new skins, Ultra Supervillain Golden Frieza is a way more interesting substitute for Black Frieza. If they continue with this quality of work, then I might be willing to return to this. Oh yeah, Fighters is coming back. I'm surprised that Arc System wanted to do another DLC for this game, especially when they have Guilty Gear and that new Marvel game on their plate. But I'm gonna assume that the sales from this DLC and the player base return numbers will determine whether they'll come back to do more. Who knows, but here's hoping that they will release a sequel at some point. Also, did you see those Dokkan animations? I've stopped playing this game for like 3 years now, and I don't plan on returning anytime soon. Still, the fact that having no new anime really put the live service game devs in a limited corner, even though they've yet to fully cover Daima's roster, it seems that it had made them focus more on their creative expansion, hence why we're seeing characters do animations that they never done in the anime. So great work, Bandai.
I'm still not re-downloading your game though.
Speaking of live service Dragon Ball games, games, Project Multi finally got released with the new official name Gekishin Squadra. I played for a little bit, and I think there's something there, especially with the costume variety. Nevertheless, it's a free-to-play online game with microtransactions and no story, the latter being a deal breaker for me, not to mention how oversaturated the live service game market is, and genuinely making gaming into a daily chore rather than something you can do just for fun. Right now, I finally kicked my Marvel Rivals habit and just sticking to Fortnite. I'm glad that there are people who are having fun with it, but it's just not my cup of tea. Japan also revealed a new Dragon Ball store, which I'd imagine is like the Pokemon Center in Japan, but with like Dragon Ball stuff. It's cool, I guess. But what got people talking the most was the art in and around the building. The ones that really got a positive reception are the illusional ones that are based on the superhero movie, and with its style too. Nevertheless, the most noteworthy were the promo illustrations of Goku, which honestly don't look very good. There are Goku statues in the building that are doing the same poses, so I wouldn't be surprised that these graphics are actually concept drawings for the sculptures before they were made. I'm not sure why they didn't get their previous promo artist Fanyo to do these illustrations. I did hear that he might have departed from the company after his situation last year, but that's just speculation, and it was so bad that Toriyama's first editor, Kazuhiko Torishima, expressed his disgust at the store, and even towards the direction with how Capsule Corporation Tokyo has handled with the product. Granted, Torishima isn't the best critic. Like very recently, he nitpicked Toyotaro's badass illustration of the Dragon Ball characters aura farming in their most powerful forms. Now we see why Toriyama made him into the villain for Dr. Slump and basing King Piccolo after him. Torishima did release a book about making manga, and right now I've read about 25 pages, so I am kinda intrigued how this creative mind works. As we know, some of the most prolific artists have their flaws, but what about someone who's known for producing products instead? Well, I want to make a review of it, but that's if I can get all the other videos out of the way. Lastly, there's one topic that's been daunting the Dragon Ball fandom, along with other franchises.
AI!
So halfway through 2025, it was revealed that Toei Animation had invested in AI technology, and apparently it'll be used for storyboarding, coloring, in-betweening, and generating backgrounds, which basically means that there will be less staff working on animation projects in the future, so more animators will be unemployed. And this definitely sucks, considering how media studios in Japan in general treat their workers, therefore making things even worse. I'm not sure if this is a hot take on AI, but personally I don't mind it when it's being used by creators who have a very limited staff. Like my most watched YouTuber of 2025 was DougDoug, a creator who's known for using AI on streams and manipulating it for everyone's entertainment.
This Sam sucks! I hate him!
Yeah, the darkness is really getting to me.
Can we put him down?
But when I hear news of Marvel and Disney using it for their properties, it just sounds extremely lazy from them. How am I supposed to take a multi-billion-dollar company's creative side seriously when I know it was made with very little effort? If these companies are that desperate for AI to be used, then they shouldn't rely on people who call themselves prompt engineers. Instead, they should have real artists to examine the generative work for imperfections and allow them to correct it. You can never go wrong with the eyes of a human artist with experience, just like how the people at the Seed of Might recently color corrected all of the Dragon Ball anime. Yes, we can finally experience the Dragon Ball anime as it's meant to be. Once again, leave it up to the fans to help carry this franchise. In conclusion, was this a bad year for the Dragon Ball franchise? Well, the overall experience felt frustrating and at times worrying due to the anxiety that the franchise would be dead with all the copyright stuff, which would therefore leave the gaming side with less content than it should have. But I think there's still a light at the end of the tunnel, and surely that Genki Damatsuri event in January will lift our spirits. It's supposed to reveal 2 anime projects, as well as the announcement of a brand new game. I'm really hoping that the anime announcements follow more aligned with my vision on how Dragon Ball Super should return, which by the way, you can watch my last video to see what that could look like. Nonetheless, I do think that there is an argument to say this was the worst year for the franchise in the 2020s, but in comparison to the early 2010s, we are definitely in a more privileged position than we were back then. And I know, seeing that a lot of my content is recapping Dragon Ball moments in the 2010s, which by the way, I am still working on the compilation video. I wanted to upload for the end of this year, but because I'm adding content that I've left out from the original videos, I cannot stress how annoyingly long this compilation is going to be. Ideally, it'll be done by early January, so fingers crossed on that. And a reminder, if there's anything that I've missed with these videos, just let me know in the comments down below. You'll get a shout out if you say something that I haven't noted down.
And yeah, that is it. Thanks for watching and see ya next time.